Hey guys, Swapnil this side again. So we are going to learn extra things in the cache API of Drupal. So basically I have told you multiple things about cache. I have given you core concept of how cache works in previous lectures, and then I have elaborated how Drupal cache works. But before that I also elaborated how actual cache concept works. So in Drupal lots of cache concepts are there, whereas four major concepts is context, cache max age, cache key, cache tags. We already covered everything. We already covered how we can use cache in Drupal, how we can use simple key and value cache, which is Redis, which is already inbuilt inside Drupal. You can use that for simple cache. And then we have already covered max age. Max age in cache concept of Drupal is used for invalidate your cache for that particular time, or just cached your data for that particular time. Cache context is basically, I already elaborated that is a very core concept. It is a kind of dynamic cache, means your entity has a different types, like user is also an entity and different user has different ID. So when you cache some pages based on user, it should be cached based on correct data. So like I have logged in from my user ID, the data should be correct based on my user ID, and it should cache based on my user ID. And some other person is getting logged in the site, they are going to see their cache data with their user ID. So here cache context comes into picture. And then we are going to cover two major concepts today: cache tags and cache keys. So I hope you have enjoyed my last videos, and if you really enjoyed, or if you got some doubt on that, please make some comment on those videos so that I can clear all those doubt using upcoming videos or using upcoming lectures. But let's cover for cache tags and cache key in this lecture. You If you want to clear your basic doubt of what is cache, how cache works, what is Drupal cache, you need to go to my part 1 of cache and part 2 of cache, which is in my last or old videos. You can get those videos in my channel. And now I am going to cover these two core concepts in Drupal. So basically I am going to repeat few of the core terms in Drupal again, so that you will have more and more ideas of those things, and you can just memorize those things every time. So how cache works in Drupal? Let's assume you are having one page, you are just viewing that page, and have you ever think, if you having one page which is having complex block views, data layout builder, header footer, complex menus, how your page is getting rendered in quicker time or in fast time in Drupal? So basically there is lots of things is happening inside under the hood. So if I will elaborate that how it works, let's assume you have an HTML page where lots of blocks is there, lots of views is there, header footer is there, menus is there, kind of lots of images are there. Now how Drupal works, it takes all your HTML, it uses render API to render your data on the page. But how render API works under the hood, it works as an array. So you have one HTML, and in HTML lots of divs are there. So each divs having different kind of data, like blocks is having different div, views is having different div, your header is having different div, footer is having different div. So in rendered array, Drupal uses render array concept, where it uses as an array as a tree. So your all the data of the page is get saved in that array as a tree. And when you are going to view that page, Drupal is going to use those rendered API to get that data from rendered array, which is already as a cache. So in that render array, when you fetch the page, it uses bottom to top concept, not top to bottom. What bottom to top concept? First your very lower data in that array will render, and then their parent and parent. So first child will render, and then parent, and then it will create a huge HTML and it will show you the page. This is how Drupal works. This is a core concept. I have repeated this again. So now I'll tell you what is cache tags and cache keys. if you want to see what is cache context and cache message, which is a core concept in Drupal also, you can see my last lecture. So I am going to only elaborate cache tags and cache queue quickly. So what cache tags is, let's assume, I'll give you an example. Let's assume that you are having one you have created one page where you are having one node, and that node is having some data, okay, and that node is having some data like just title of that node, description of that node, and few other fields of that node, so that when you are images of that node and when you render that node, you want to show the user author of that node as well as date of that node, and you want to show some other data as well. Let me guess what you can show. You want to show the connected node of that particular node. So you want to show author of that node on that your page. You want to show that node, and with that node you want to show author of that node, which is a user in our site, and then you want to show some other node title on that node. Just assume that you have a node, you want to display that node on a page, and with that node display you want to show the title, author of that node, as well as your other node, which is as a tag. You have tagged that node in that node, okay, as a title. Just assume you just cached that page, okay. So you cache that page. Now when you going to render that page, it is coming from cache quickly, and quickly it is coming on your page. So whenever you are just rendering that page, it is coming from the cache, and it's quicker. So now just assume somebody, author of that page, went to their profile and they updated their username, or they updated their name, okay. Earlier their name was just assume Swapnil, and later on they have added Swapnil Srivastava, okay. They just want to show other name on the site with their author name, okay. So user went to that site, they logged in, they go into their profile, they just updated their username, which you are using to show your node on with that author ID who is created that node. And just assume the other node which is connected with your node as a tag, some person went into that node and they changed the title of that node. So what will happen? Your node will render, but it will render with the old data of user ID, because you have just taking those data from the cache. So cache is always there for your node, and it's coming with the author of that node with the old user and with the tag of that other node with your node. So just assume user has updated their data, that should come, right? That updated data should come, but your page should come from the cache, okay. So here cache tags come into picture. When your elements or your data depends on other data or other element or other entity, and those are connected to showing some pages, so you have to invalidate your cache when your data gets updated, okay. So you have to invalidate your page cache when user updated their username, when your tags gets updated, when other related data related to your node or other different entity which is related to your entity or node, when that is getting updated, your node should be updated, or your node should change that data with the latest version of that data, latest cache. So here cache tags comes into picture. When your data is depends on other data, when that data is getting changed, at that point of time also you have to clear cache of your original data, so that new data will come with new updated data. So here cache tags come into picture. So let's see one example of cache tags. Cache tags, I have created again a simple routing form. You can see I have just created here one additional cache tags routing, where is the path is I have given this path here, and then I have given this controller, and in controller I have called default controller cache tags, and this is cache tags I am using here as a function, okay. So just one by one I am just reading the line. I have not yet run this till now. I will run in front of you all, so that you will see if any error will come, how we will handle that error, or how we will handle that particular, how we will do error handling here. So now here you can see username, we are taking username from Drupal current user get account variable, okay. and then we are taking cache tag from this variable current user id and get cache tag. So let me tell you about get cache tag. When you want to invalidate a cache of your any data, how you will tag that other data which is depend on your data with using cache tags, and how you will know that when user 1 is getting updated your data should change, or user 5 is getting updated your data should change. That is, get cache tags is already a function based on apart from using the static value that when user 2 is getting updated my data should invalidate, when user 3 getting updated my data should invalidate. Apart from doing this hard code value, you just use this entity and get cache tags in your tags. Mostly in Drupal we do this thing, we just use our entity and we just after that entity we use get cache tags, which is giving us all those tags related to that entity which is already defined in Drupal, and we just put our tags in our data where we want to get that data updated based on our tags. Okay, so here I am having username, here I am calling username, and then I am using one cache tags which is getting this cache, which is getting all those cache tags of that user entity, and then I am calling that in cache element as a tags array. Okay, and just this thing you have to take care, and you have to take care of this get cache tags function which is available for each and every entity. So whenever you are using tags, you just use this function and you just call on the top of your entity, then your data will connected to that other entity will already will get invalidated when that entity gets update. Okay, so now let's go to front end and log into some user, log into my user id. Let's assume log in with admin. Okay, so let's log in with admin, create one more user so that I can show you example with login with other user. Just add one more user, abc 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 active, and make that as authenticated user only, create account. Okay, this is now my user is created here. So if I'm going to home and I'm just clearing cache so that my new route which I had defined will get, my code will execute. Now let's switch to that particular route which we are using for cache tags. Okay, now you can see we are getting some error. Let's solve that error. Class this not found. Okay, this class not found. Controller, then default controller, then cache tags, cache tags. Okay, so here user not found, just do like that. Let's see, user load, let's See the function of user load. User load. Okay, this is the entity here. So let's do this, and then load is a function, and then we are taking that ID. Refresh now. Okay, now we are getting our page. So let's see that page. This is cache data, but with dynamic user entity where username is this one. Okay, and I'm just going to this and refresh again. It is coming from cache. You can see now my cache is there. Okay, so this is the cache which is depend on this user ID. So these all data is get cached but respect to this user ID. So just assume I am going to log in with other user, what data should come here? Here new user means ABC should come, right? And if we are not using tags, then only that ABC will not come, your old data will come for all user. Okay, so this is a security leak also. So let's log in with that. Okay, now go to that particular URL. This is the URL. Okay, you can see now here the new data is coming ABC. So here these all things is coming from cache. You saw that our page loads quickly because this all data is cached, but this is coming from tags. So whenever you change the user, your data will invalidate and it will come from, it will create new cache for that particular user. So here tags come into picture. Okay, hope you got the idea, and if not, if you are having some doubt, just write into comments. Now let's switch to other one, which is cache key. So where cache key, how, when we use cache key. Okay, so just assume what is key. Key is basically a identity. From starting we using key as an identity to make the identity of anything. Okay, so we know that till now what we did, we only given you example with one cache elements in each array. Okay, so you, if you will see our code, we use only one cache element here, and then one cache element here for this, and then one cache element. While I told you earlier that how Drupal works, it has lots of tree elements and it uses different cache for all their elements. So I have just created one function here which is this tree, and here I have just given all different cache for different variable. Okay, sorry. So here what I did, I just simply just add cache key and max age, cache key and simple cache empty, then cache key and max age, then cache key max age, and cache key context URL query argument, which we have shown you earlier also. So now let's switch to this URL and see what happens. Then I will show you where cache key matters. Okay. Here again some error is there. Let's solve that error. Not found. Class cache not found. Okay. Okay. Cache. So we can take from here this one. We already used this. Okay. Now it will work. So now just see what I am describing here. Here one data is coming permanent cache, which is showing this data. Okay, you can see this is coming from this line. Okay, now there is simple alert, just a simple message, nothing else. I have not used cache here. Now parent, I have used some markup temporary for 20 seconds, means each 20 seconds this should change. okay. And then I have used this and temporary for 10 second, means after max age I have given 10, means after 10 second this should change, okay. Now context URL means based on URL query this should change. Now just see, after 10 second only this should change, nothing else, okay. Like we write our program, only this should change after 10 second, because we have only using here max age 10, not anywhere else. So if I will reload this page, I can see everything is getting changed. Even permanent cache where we did this permanent which should not change, that is also getting changed, okay. When after 10 seconds I will check again, everything will change, means it should only change, okay. There should not, this should not change, this should not change, and this should not change, this should only change, because we are invalidating cache of this thing after 10 seconds. When we reload again, you can see everything is getting changed. So here cache key comes into picture, means cache key, you by use of cache key you can make separate cache on same page for different data. This is very unique and very great property of Drupal. Means if you want to clear cache of this property only, not anywhere else you want to touch that cache clear, then you have to add cache key for each property. So each property will counted as different key. Means if you are clearing this after 10 seconds, then only this should change, nothing else, because we are only invalidating this data cache after 10 seconds, nothing else, okay. Now let's add our major concept key here, key, okay. And in this key we will add some data. I'm adding some different data. I'm just adding permanent cache here, then here in key I'm adding simple alert here. I'm just adding the name of that particular array inside the key, okay. Here key I am adding this name, here I'm adding the same here, if you will make same key for two data, then both will be both cache will clear at same time. And key, I have shown you example of cache context in my last lecture, so you can go there and check how cache context works, okay. So I am adding here, sorry guys, this data. Now just reload the page and see the beautiful example how cache key comes into picture and how it helps. You can see now this data is cleared. Now after 10 seconds we will see again what happens. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Okay, I have not clear cache because it is picking my old code. So in front of you only I am showing every example, so you will get all the idea how this works. If something is not working, we just need to clear cache first so that our new code should work, okay. Wait for a moment, let this clear the cache and then we will see the magic of cache key. Only after 10 seconds this data will change, nothing else will change. Only after 20 seconds this data will change, nothing else will change. Everything will be there apart from these changes, means it will work, it will impact uniquely to those data only, on that you will use that key. So basically key is array which identify the element, based on that you can segregate the cached version of each data, okay. Our cache cleared, so let's refresh this page. You can see our page is taking too much time to load. Here cache we need to use. Okay, so let's wait for 10 seconds. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Oh, what's happening? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Everything is getting changed. I think we have done something wrong. Let's see our code and check where is the error. Why our code is not working? Yep, I got it. We used key. It should be keys. Sorry guys, but I'm writing code in front of you, so you will get the idea, and you need to take care of your concept clearation. So your concept should be clear. That is my first approach. So that's why I am writing the code in front of you. We can all go do error, and we can all, that's why error handling is the great concept which you need to cover. So now I have just updated these keys, and let's clear the cache and check again. Okay, so we have different ID, and let's wait for our cache clearing, and then we will check again if anything. Okay, our cache is clear. So now go to page, just refresh this page again. I hope there should not be any error now. So here you can see all those data is coming. Let's wait for 10 seconds. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Wow, we saw only this data, and this data has changed. This has not got any impact, this has not got any impact. Now we got the concept of cache key, which is a very great and my favorite concept in the cache, where on your whole page you can segregate, or you can separate out your cache for each element differently. So it is a unique behavior which maintain your cache of your each data uniquely. Okay, so if we load again, we only can see the change in these two, because it is coming from 10 to 20 seconds. So if we again load, it is coming from cache, coming from cache, coming from cache, coming from cache. Okay, you can see only this 10 seconds get changed. So we'll see again after few seconds that other one 20 second will also get changed. You can see now this is changed, and next 10 seconds this also get changed. So this is the concept which we cleared of cache tags and cache key. I hope you enjoyed a lot. I hope you enjoyed the concept which I have covered, and I hope you will really reply me back with what you understand, what you got from my lectures, and what you have doubts, so that I can clear them up. Thank you so much guys. Thank you, and share this video with your friends so that they can get the core concepts of Drupal easily, and they can work on Drupal as a coder easily. Thank you so much. Bye.